as a supervisor, you could work any off-duty detail
Yes, if it's uncovered, yes.
if it's uncovered. Now, specifically with respect to Skyway off-duty work, did you perform any supervisory functions specifically for the Skyway off-duty detail?
Yes.
And was that, just describe what the supervisory responsibilities were for a supervisor who worked the Skyway detail specifically?
Yes, I would get my roster via it was either email or text, fill out my patrol sheet ahead of time, then I would have to respond to the district, get a vehicle to use, and then go out there and check the posts on scene.
Now, how often did you work as a supervisor for the specifically for the Skyway off-duty details?
I worked a handful of them. I would get all total maybe like 3 jobs a month, 4, but usually maybe 1 Skyway detail, DOT.
Okay. And now, did you work as an off-duty supervisor for non-Skyway detail jobs?
Yes.
How would they differ generally from Skyway?
Skyway was set locations and posts, I forget how many, but that was a 4-hour detail. The other details are mainly 8-hour details, and they encompass construction work.
Do you know if the Skyway off-duty details are still in existence?
I believe, yes, up on the state highway up in the North District, there are several.
All right, so you said
Last I checked, they were still working.
the state highway. Are you familiar with whether there were 2 separate Skyway details?
I believe there was an 8-hour detail, and there was a 4-hour detail.
All right, what was the 8-hour detail? Where was that generally located?
Up on the Skyway, Route 139.
Route 139?
Yes, Baldwin and 139, Central and 139.
And then there were 4-hour details?
4-hour details were the Donnelly Circle. They were cut back. There were a lot of them when it first started. Now it's down to, I don't know how many. I haven't worked in a while.
Now, you said, did you ever work the Skyway detail as a patrolman? Did you ever stand a
No.
post on that? No. Never picked those up. Show you what's been marked as S57, if I may approach.
What's the marking?
S57. This is the one that you don't have. You recognize what S57 is?
Yes,
What is that?
that's an off-duty payment voucher.
And this is blank?
Yes,
Now, is that something that, as a supervisor, you would use?
yes.
And explain for the court what, as a supervisor, generally the information you would be required to put into the,
Well, I would fill it out for myself,
right?
so I got paid. And then I would sign, I believe, the DOT in particular, where it was foreman/authorized agent. I would print my name and then sign under, so that the officer got paid.
Okay, so were you required to fill one of those out?
Yes,
And what is your obligation with respect to the information that you put on that pay voucher?
that it's truthful. And correct, excuse me.
So let's, I think I put in front of you a subfolder that's been placed into evidence. It's been marked as S9, A through. I think it's, I'm sorry. Okay.
A through C, A through C, and then B through O.
You want to shut this off?
Yeah.
Show you what's been marked as S9B first for identification. What is S9B?
That's my payment voucher for June 6th of 2014.
Okay, and what is the information that you put on that?
Name, rank, last 4 of the social security number, date worked, hours worked, start time, end time, signature, date, and project detail name and location. And down below the shop registration that I used that day, the mark unit.
So explain to the court what that information is. You say, it says vehicle shop registration used,
Yes,
and what is that?
that's a shop reg 1602, that's a vehicle I used that day.
Okay, and why do you have a vehicle for your assignment as a supervisor for the Skyway DOT?
Because I have to be mobile to check on the numerous posts.
Okay.
This is S9B as in boy. correct?
S9B is in boy, that's correct, Your Honor. All right, now, on the note section, this has been placed into evidence, so in the note section, if you could just read what you wrote down there.
I have Sky 2, Castillo, Sky 3, Zambricki, Sky 4, F. Kaminsky, Sky 5, Bobo, Sky 6, Torrey, Sky 8, Silver, Sky 10, D. Torres, Sky 11, M. Schnee, Sky 13, Otundo.
Okay, and I want to show you now what's been marked for identification, but not placed into evidence, S9W.
Yes.
Do you recognize what S9W is?
That was my roster for June 6th of 2014 for the Skyway detail.
Okay, and when you say that was your roster, specifically, what portion of S9W was your roster?
Call sign Sky 1 through Sky 13, the top
Okay.
portion,
And
top third.
And is your name on S9W?
Yes.
All right, and explain for the court how it would be that you received S9W. What would you get?
I would get the top portion either via text or email, I forget exactly. And that would basically be my roster, and that was my responsibility, my zone.
Now, when would you get that?
Usually the morning of or the night before.
Okay. Now, how, as a supervisor, how were you either selected or how did you get that job? How did you get to work that job on that particular day?
I believe through the job picks. You'd go pick a number and then pick as your number got called.
All right, so explain for the court what the job picks are for supervisors.
All the supervisors show up, you put your name in the hat, they pick it out in a random order, and wherever you come out on that, in that random order, that's where you pick.
All right, so then you get to pick what, a job?
Yes,
And in this case, did you pick this job?
yes.
All right, do you know how far in advance you would have picked this job, General?
It could be a week, it could be several weeks. I think we picked for the month, so it could be from a few days until 28 days.
Okay. So you picked for a full month worth of scheduled
Yes.
jobs? And jobs are scheduled that far out in advance?
Usually a month in advance, yes.
Okay. And how about DOT jobs? Were they scheduled that far out in advance?
I don't recall, I guess they were if they were on the job picks.
And so on S9W, what you received, are there blanks in the portion of your, what is it, the North District?
It's called the North, but it actually encompasses more than the North District. But yes, there are blanks.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it. Encompasses what?
It encompasses more than the North District.
It's identified as the North District on the Skyway. We've been referring to it as the roster,
Master.
master list. All right, so I'm going to continue to refer to it as the master list without objection.
Yes.
So on that master list, there are posts, how many posts are identified for the morning in the North District, identified on the master list as the North District?
13.
Okay. And when you get that, what is your responsibility going to be as a supervisor?
To book each an individual post.
Okay. Now, you get that.
And sign the voucher, the pay voucher.
Okay, and when you say to book in each individual post, well, let's strike that, before we get there. There are blanks on S9W, is that correct?
Yes.
Explain for the court what that means to you when you get that in advance.
That means nobody, no police officer picked or supervisor picked that post that day.
Okay, now what does it mean with respect to your responsibility as a supervisor in terms of responding to that post?
I would still check it to ensure that it was unmanned that day,
Now, why is
or
that?
if it was manned that day.
Why is that?
So the officer would get paid and for proper coverage.
Okay. So just because it's blank there, does that mean that an officer wasn't working?
No.
Okay. So you would go there whether it was blank or not?
Yes.
So I'm gonna just, I'm gonna make reference, I'm gonna sit down and make reference. I've got a couple of questions to ask you about S9B and S9C. Could you explain what S9C is?
That is my off-duty activity sheet.
Okay, and explain for the court what an off-duty activity sheet is.
This is the sheet where I document each post, who manned the post, the work location, and the name of the detail.
Okay. And how do you go about generating what's in evidence as S9C?
I would physically go to each location in a marked vehicle, visually observe the officer on scene, and sign his pay voucher.
So just start at the top. Is that your handwriting, printing in terms of name
Yes,
on S9C?
yes,
Is that your signature?
yes,
And is it dated?
yes.
What's the date?
June 6th to 14th.
All right. Is that the date that you filled out this sheet?
Yes,
Okay. Now, were you required to fill out a supervisor's off-duty activity sheet, patrol log,
yes,
as a supervisor for the Skyway detail?
yes.
And what is your obligation with respect to the information that you place on your patrol log?
That it be truthful and correct.
So, from your patrol log, can you determine where you went first on June 6th, 2014?
Time-wise, it looks like Duncan and Route 109.
All right, and is Duncan and Route 109 reflected on what's just been identified as S9W, the master sheet?
Yes,
Okay. And on the master sheet at Duncan and 1 and 9, what is that Skyway number for that?
that's Skyway 13.
Okay. And on S9W, based on S9W, who would you have expected to see at Duncan and 1 and 9?
R. Lopez and C. Matias.
Okay. Now, did you, from your patrol sheet S9C, do you know whether you saw Lopez or Matias on that? No? Okay. Who did you see at Duncan and 1 and 9?
Officer Otundo.
All right. I want to make reference to, if you could just take a look at S9G. S9G, it'll be
S9G.
okay. What is S9G that's been placed in evidence?
Pay voucher, off-duty pay voucher for P.O. Morton Otundo.
Okay. And the information with respect to Officer Artundo on, what is the top part say? The
P.O.
top part meaning to be
Otundo.
completed by officer requesting off-duty employment. Pay.
P.O. Morton Otundo, rank police officer, last four of his social security number, date worked, total hours worked, start time, end time, signature, date, project name, location.
Okay, when it says for location, what does it say there?
Duncan and US 109.
All right, where did, based upon your patrol sheet, where did you see Officer Rotundo on June 6th of 2014?
Duncan and Route 109.
And based on your patrol sheet, did you see him there at a specific time?
Yes, 0643.
Okay. And so, is that your signature on S9G?
Yes,
And where do you sign it?
under foreman / authorized agent.
Okay. And now foreman / authorized agent, is that, is that where you were supposed to sign it?
I believe so.
Okay. And why do you believe that you were supposed to sign it there?
I must have gotten that word of mouth. As I was told the DOTs, you sign at that location. as opposed to the other off-duty jobs where you sign down below in the notes.
Okay, so there are other off-duty jobs where you would, other off-duty jobs, you're saying you sign at different locations, is that
Yes,
correct?
correct.
And those other off-duty jobs, what type of jobs were that? Non-Skyway detail?
Correct. Construction, mostly.
Construction mostly. Now, in construction mostly, on those other details, was there actually a foreman or authorized agent on any of those jobs?
Yes,
And so some of the other off-duty details had actually foremen or authorized agents,
I believe so, yes.
and they would be from where?
It could be Verizon, public service, mostly construction companies.
The vendor?
The vendor, yes.
But on Skyway detail, it's your testimony that you learned that that's where you had to sign.
Yes.
So from SIP in 1 and 9, according to your patrol sheet, where did you go?
Broadway and 109.
Okay, and according to the S9W, who would you have expected to see at S9W?
They were both blank,
They were both blank.
yes.
Do you know whether you went there that day?
Excuse me?
Do you know whether you went there that day even though it was
Yes.
blank? How do you know that?
Because I booked Officer Torrey at that location.
Okay, and is 1 and 9 in Broadway, is that a one-man post or a two-man post?
That is a two-man post.
Okay, now, how many people did you book in at Broadway in 1 and 9 on that day?
One.
Okay, and so, let me just ask you a couple of questions about this. If you look down on your patrol sheet, S9C, there's a place in the bottom for additional activity.
Yes.
Could you explain for the court what that is, what it means, and what you do with it?
I booked it, I documented what other post was not covered that day.
You documented what post was?
If the post was not covered that day, I documented at the bottom of the sheet.
All right, so down there, you said additional activity, what did you write?
Skyway 1, Skyway 7, Skyway 9, and Skyway 12 not covered.
All right, now Skyway, let's go Skyway 1. Skyway 1 was what?
Hudson Mall Jug Handle.
All right, and where is that located?
That's right by the mall on Route 440.
Is that north or south of Duncan and Route 109?
South.
It's south of Duncan and 109? All right. And can you describe that intersection?
It's a very busy jug handle, very busy intersection with the regular rush hour traffic and the mall traffic.
Okay. And you have that as uncovered?
Yes,
All right. Now, how do you know it was uncovered?
because I went there.
All right. And you also have Skyway 7 as uncovered. What is Skyway 7?
Skyway 7 is 109 Broadway.
Okay. So you booked Torrey in at Broadway and 1 and 9. What would that post be?
That's the other half of the two-man post.
Skyway 6?
Skyway 6,
So Skyway 6 and 7 is the two-man post located at 1 and 9 at Broadway.
correct.
All right. 1 and 9 in Broadway, if you could describe what that intersection is like.
It's on a curve, right when you pass Marion Projects. There's a restaurant, Greeter and Joe's on the corner. Broadway ends at the half circle, and then you would, if you went north, you would hit Newark Avenue and approach the Donnelly Circle.
Okay. And let's say across where Broadway comes into 1 and 9, what's located directly across there?
There's a Greeter and Joe's restaurant on the corner,
Just across the street from Rita and Joe's.
and that's the outskirts of Marion Gardens Projects.
Okay. Is there a gas station there?
There's a gas station across 1 and 9. There's a
Across-
gas station.
Across 1 and 9?
Not across Broadway, across 1 and 9.
Okay, and just describe that gas station if you could, the lot, the
Open, lot of open area,
lot of open area.
yes.
Okay. And so you wrote Skyway 7 not covered. Explain for the court how you would conclude that Skyway 7 was not covered.
I did a visual, physically went to the location, encountered Officer Torrey, signed his voucher, I don't specifically remember that day, but I inquired if there was another officer there.
Objection. He doesn't remember that day, he can't testify to the
Sustained.
problem.
All right, in the normal course of your supervisory responsibilities, not on that particular day,
Right.
what are your responsibilities with respect to, and you testified to this, but I think I'm going to ask you again, what are your responsibilities with respect to locating officers working those posts?
Supposed to visually locate them on post, make sure that they have the reflective vest and their full uniform, on time and performing their functions.
Okay. And on a two-man post, if you find, if you found one person there, generally, not on this particular day, how would you go about determining whether there was another officer there?
I would ask the officer on scene if there was another officer there. If not, I would call over the radio.
Okay. And on this particular day, you did encounter Officer Torrey there?
Yes,
And on this particular day, you did conclude that Skyway 7 was uncovered?
yes,
And you don't have any independent recollection of speaking to Officer Torrey on that day, is that correct?
no,
Do you know Officer Torrey?
yes.
Do you recognize him by face?
I know Joe for 30 years.
30 years?
Yes,
Okay. And do you know Lieutenant Kelly Chesel?
yes,
You see her in the courtroom?
yes.
Okay. How well do you know Lieutenant Kelly Chesel?
I never worked with her directly, but I know her from working similar tours, and I know her.
Did you work with Captain Astley? You said, did you work with Captain Astley's?
I don't think I was ever assigned to the same unit or district as Joe Askeley, but
Okay. How long you on the job, Chief?
30 years.
And so for those 30 years, you've known Captain Astley?
Yes.
What is your relationship with him outside of work, if any?
We've socialized in the past. I know Joe pretty well, so retirement parties and things like that, maybe softball games. I know.
Okay. What was his, to your knowledge, what was his role or responsibility regarding the Skyway DOT?
I know at the time he was a special operations commander, and I believe he was in charge of the Skyway.
Okay. Did you ever, do you recall having any direct contact with Captain Askeley regarding DOT Skyway detail?
Not specifically, no.
Not specifically, no. And how about Lieutenant Kelly Chesel? Yeah, did you recall having any specific contact with Lieutenant Chesler regarding Skyway DOT, your role as a supervisor on the Skyway DOT?
No.
So, if you could just referring to your patrol sheet, I want to show you what's been placed in evidence as first S9E. Let's look at S9E. E or B? E, thank you.
Yes?
Okay. What is S9E?
That's an off-duty pay voucher for Officer Michael Maietti dated June 6th, 2014, 0600 hours till 1000 hours.
And for June 6th, 600 to 1000?
Yes.
And what is the project name that is identified on S9E as an echo?
Pulaski Skyway, location Broadway and Route 109.
All right, is that detail, was that your responsibility to supervise that specific detail,
Yes, according to my roster, yes.
according to your roster? Just your roster, or according to all the other documents that you've seen today?
It seems to be it was my responsibility.
It was your responsibility. Do you know Officer Michael Maietti?
Yes,
You know him by face?
yes,
How well do you know him?
over 20 years.
Over 20 years. What is your relationship with Officer Michael Maietti?
Work, just work related.
Just work related. Okay. Is that your signature on S9E?
Now,
Whose signature is that?
the printed version is Captain J. Askelise, and it appears the signature is Captain Askelise.
Okay. Do you have any explanation based upon, do you have any explanation for why Captain Askelise would have affixed his signature to a post that you were assigned to supervise?
No,
Did you ever have any contact with Captain Askelise about that post?
no,
About any post?
not to my recollection.
Not to your recollection. Do you know Michael O'Neill?
Yes,
Do you know Michael O'Neill?
I know Michael O'Neill over 30 years.
Over 30 years?
Yes.
What is your relationship with Michael O'Neill?
I consider him a friend.
You consider him a friend outside of work?
Yes,
It's not easy then, is that?
no,
Okay. I want to show you what's been marked as S9F.
yes.
What is S9F?
That's off-duty pay voucher for Officer Michael O'Neill. June 6, 2014, from 0600 hours to 1000 hours.
Okay, and so that's, what was the project name and location identified there?
Pulaski Skyway 1 and 9 in Broadway.
And so, according to the master log, S9W, Broadway and 1 and 9, both posts appear to be uncovered, is that correct?
Yes.
I gotta ask the same questions with respect to Michael O'Neill. At Broadway and 1 and 9, at that particular time, on that day, who did you see there?
I saw Officer Torrey,
Okay, and what did you identify as the other half of that post?
uncovered.
All right? Do you recall seeing Michael O'Neill out there on that day?
Like I said, I don't specifically remember that day, but according to my paperwork, I only had Officer Torrey at that location.
You only had Officer Torrey on that location, and you marked the other one as uncovered.
Correct.
Did you ever have any contact with Captain Ascalise with respect to Michael O'Neill and a DOT?
Not that I could recall.
Not that you can recall. Is that your signature on S9F?
No.
And whose signature is that?
Printed version is Captain J. Ascalise, and appears the signature is Captain Ascalise.
Okay, do you have any explanation for why Captain Ascalise would have signed a project, a DOT project location that you were responsible for supervising?
No.